Welcome to the Gene Clarity Podcast, a space to explore your clarity journey from survival to authenticity. I'm Sajine, and here we dive into the raw truths of breaking free from the expectations we've grown up with, rediscovering our voices, and thriving after life's challenges. But this isn't just about my story, it's about life, from relationships and self-discovery to the messy, beautiful questions we all face. No topic is off limits here. So if you're ready to embrace courage, healing, and life on your own terms, you're in the right place. Let's connect. Let's grow. Welcome to the journey. Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. I'm not a licensed therapist, counselor, or medical professional, and the content shared here is based on personal experiences and insights. If you're facing significant challenges, please seek the support of a qualified professional. Remember, your journey is unique, and you deserve the care and guidance that's right for you. Welcome. Today's podcast is titled, You Survived for a Reason. Stop shaming yourself for the ways you stayed alive. Today, I want to talk about something that I think so many people carry quietly. It's shame. Not necessarily shame about what somebody else did to us, but shame about what we did while we were trying to survive it. Have you ever looked back at a situation and thought, why did I let that happen? Why didn't I stand up for myself? Why didn't I leave sooner? Why did I keep making excuses for them? Why did I pretend everything was okay? Why did I tell them what they wanted to hear? Why did I become so agreeable? Why did I keep going back? Or maybe you've looked back and thought, I don't even recognize that version of myself. If you've ever had those thoughts, I want you to take a breath. Because today we're going to look at those behaviors through a different lens. Not the lenses of shame, not the lenses of hindsight, but through the lenses of survival. Because when you're living inside something, you don't always have the luxury of responding the way you would respond from a safe place. The person you are today has information that the person you were back then didn't have. You know more now, you see more now, you understand more now. But that doesn't mean the version of you who was surviving had the ability to see what you see today. And that's what I want us to explore. Part 1. Survival doesn't always look like fighting. When people talk about survival, we often imagine fighting. We imagine somebody standing up and saying, no, you are not going to treat me this way. We imagine walking away. We imagine confronting somebody. We imagine being strong. But survival doesn't always look like that. Sometimes survival looks like fawning. Sometimes it looks like appeasing. Sometimes it looks like becoming extremely agreeable. Sometimes it looks like carefully watching somebody's face because you're trying to figure out what mood they're in. Sometimes it looks like saying, it's okay, when it absolutely isn't okay. Sometimes it looks like you're right when you know they're wrong. Sometimes it looks like laughing at something that hurt you. Sometimes it looks like pretending you're not angry. Sometimes it looks like hiding your accomplishments because you don't want somebody to become jealous. Sometimes it looks like telling somebody what they need to hear because you don't know what they're going to do if you don't. And here's something I want you to hear very clearly. That doesn't automatically mean you were weak. Your body was trying to keep you alive, get you through the situation. Your nervous system isn't sitting there conducting a philosophical debate. It's asking, what keeps me safest right now? And if your nervous system learned that confrontation brought danger, it may have learned to avoid confrontation. If it learned that saying no brought punishment, it may have learned to say yes. If it learned that somebody else's anger was dangerous, it may have learned to monitor that person's emotions. If it learned that keeping someone happy created temporary safety, it may have become incredibly good at keeping people happy. That's not stupidity, that's adaptation. Part 2. The difference between survival and thriving. Here's where the story changes, because what kept you safe in one environment may become something that keeps you stuck in another. That's the part nobody talks about enough. Your survival skills can become habits. You learn to read everybody. You anticipate everybody. You manage everybody. You take care of everybody. You apologize before anybody even asks you to. You explain yourself. You overthink. You overgive. You become hyper independent because depending on people didn't feel safe. Or you become a people pleaser because keeping people happy felt safer than disappointing them. And eventually you may ask yourself, why can't I just relax? Because your body learned that relaxing wasn't safe. But here's the beautiful part. Your body can learn something new. You can teach yourself. I don't have to monitor everybody's anymore. I don't have to make everybody happy. I can say no. I can leave. I can disappoint somebody and still be okay. Someone being angry doesn't automatically mean I'm in danger. I don't have to explain every decision I make. That is what healing begins to look like. Part 3. Sometimes survival requires strategy. This is the part that really got me thinking. Sometimes when someone is trying to survive an unsafe person or environment, they can't simply announce, I'm leaving. Because the situation isn't that simple. Sometimes the safest thing is to avoid escalating the person. Sometimes you have to stay calm. Sometimes you have to make somebody believe you're not a threat. Sometimes you have to wait until you have an opening. Sometimes you have to quietly gather information. Sometimes you have to appear calmer than you feel. And I want to be extremely clear. I'm not talking about manipulating innocent people. I'm talking about situations where someone is trying to get through something unsafe. There's a difference. And this is where I want to challenge the shame. Because people sometimes look backward and say, why didn't I just tell the truth? But the question I want you to ask is, what did I believe would happen if I told the truth? That's a very different question. Maybe you believe there would be retaliation. Maybe you believed you'd be abandoned. Maybe you believed you'd lose your home. Maybe you believed your children would suffer. Maybe you believed you wouldn't be believed. Maybe you believed the situation would become even more dangerous. Maybe you didn't know what would happen. And when the brain believes there's danger, it doesn't always prioritize authenticity. It prioritizes survival. Part 4. What I learned about my own survival. I want to make this personal for a moment. There was a period in my life when I had to navigate something that felt frightening and unpredictable. And looking back, I can see things differently now. I can see the ways I tried to keep the situation calm. I can see the ways I tried to make another person believe that I cared. I can see the way I tried to make it appear that everything was okay to be okay. And here's the thing. I could sit here today and shame myself for that. I could say, why didn't you just tell him exactly what you thought? Why didn't you just stand up? Why did you act like you cared? But I don't want to do that anymore because I know what I was trying to do. I was trying to survive. And that doesn't mean I approve of everything that happened. It doesn't mean I think survival should require somebody to abandon themselves. It means I'm giving the woman I was back then the compassion she deserved. She was trying to get through something she didn't know how to get through. And she did. She's still here. And now she gets to live differently. That's the part I want you to take with you. You don't have to be ashamed of the version of you who survived. You can thank her. You can say, you did what you knew how to do. You got me here. And I don't need you to work that hard anymore. Part 5. That body does what it has learned. Your body doesn't wake up one morning and decide, today I'm going to become a people pleaser. It learns, it watches, it adapts. It notices patterns. It remembers what happened the last time you said no. It remembers what happened when you expressed an opinion. It remembers what happened when you made somebody angry. And eventually your body begins responding before your conscious mind even catches up. That's why healing isn't simply saying, I'm not going to do that anymore. It's learning a new response. It's practicing boundaries. It's tolerating somebody else's disappointment. It's learning to sit with silence. It's allowing someone to misunderstand you without immediately defending yourself. It's realizing that you don't have to fix every uncomfortable situation. It's learning that peace doesn't mean everybody is happy. Sometimes peace means you're finally safe enough to be yourself. Part 6. Stop using hindsight to punish yourself. This is one of the biggest lessons I want to leave with you. Stop using today's wisdom to punish yesterday's you. You know more now. That's the whole point of growth. The woman you were 10 years ago, or however long, didn't have the perspective you have today. The person you were 5 years ago didn't have the boundaries you're developing today. The version of you stayed may not have known how to leave. The version of you who tolerated something may not have understood that she was allowed to say no. The version of you who kept the peace may have believed that keeping the peace was the only way to stay safe. So instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Try asking, what was I trying to protect? Instead of, why was I so weak? Ask yourself, what was my body trying to survive? Instead of, why didn't I know better? Ask yourself, what do I know now that I can teach myself moving forward? That's growth. Part 7. Survival is not your identity. Here's what I want us to land. You are not your survival response. You are not the person you became in order to get through something. You are the person who gets to decide who you become now. Maybe you were a people pleaser. You can become someone who practices boundaries. Maybe you were afraid to speak. You can become someone who speaks honestly. Maybe you constantly monitor other people's emotions. You can become someone who lets other adults manage their own emotions. Maybe you believe love meant sacrificing yourself. You can learn that love and self-abandonment are not the same thing. Maybe you thought being needed was the same thing as being valued. You can learn the difference. Maybe you spent decades surviving. That doesn't mean you have to spend the rest of your life surviving. You can thrive. And thriving doesn't have to mean becoming a completely different person overnight. It can be very simple. Today you say no. Tomorrow you rest. Next week you make a decision without asking everybody else what they think. You take yourself somewhere you've always wanted to go. You make a new friend. You take a class. You laugh. You discover what you actually like. You discover what you want. You realize, oh my gosh, I get to choose. That's thriving. I think the thriving part is just amazing. You know, me, I've started picking up different hobbies, books, interests. I even went to a glass blowing class. It was amazing that I thought that I can create such a beautiful creation. You know, I've picked up watercolor painting, acrylic painting, reading, going on my bike, swimming, Pilates, you name it. I've been incorporating something. I've been going antiquing, going to the antique stores, right? Seeing if there's estate sales and learning how everybody finds something interesting as they go along. And I think the older you get, and I'm not saying you have to be older, but from what I'm seeing as the older people get, the more they like to see what history has and they look for antique stuff, right? So to me, I think that's important. Let me give you 5 journal prompts. I think it's really important to always write because that's how we get to express ourselves. One of a million ways, right? Take these slowly. You don't have to answer them all at once. What survival behaviors am I still carrying that once helped me feel safe? Don't judge them, just identify them. What did I believe would happen if I stopped pleasing, appeasing, or accommodating others? Be honest. 3. What would I say to the younger version of myself who was doing whatever she could to survive? Write it as though you're speaking directly to her. 4. Where in my life am I beginning to feel safe enough to become more authentic? What does that look like? 5. If I no longer had to organize my life around survival, what would I want my life to look like? Not what should it look like, what do you want? Find a comfortable position. You can sit, you can lie down. You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And if closing your eyes doesn't feel safe, simply soften your gaze. There's no right way to do this. Take a slow breath in. Slowly breathe it out. Again. Inhale and exhale. Allow your shoulders to drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your hands relax. You don't have to solve anything right now. You don't have to figure anything out. For the next few minutes, you don't have to take care of anybody. You can simply be here. Take another slow breath. And as you breathe out, remind yourself, I'm here. I'm safe in this moment. Now bring your attention to the person you used to be. You don't have to picture a specific moment. Just imagine a younger version of yourself. Maybe she's scared. Maybe she's confused. Maybe she's exhausted. Maybe she's trying desperately to make everything okay. Maybe she's trying to keep somebody happy. Maybe she's trying not to make anybody angry. Maybe she's simply trying to get through the day. Look at her with compassion, not judgment, compassion. And imagine walking toward her. Sit beside her. You don't have to fix her. You don't have to lecture her. Just sit beside her and tell her, I see you. I know you were trying. I know you didn't always know what to do. I know you were scared. And I'm not angry with you. Take a breath. Now tell her, thank you for surviving. Thank you for getting us here. You don't have to work that hard anymore. Take another breath and slowly exhale. Now imagine taking her hand and tell her, you don't have to carry the shame anymore. What happened to you is not your identity. The ways you survived do not define the person you are becoming. Take a deep breath and let it go. Now imagine a door in front of you. Behind the door is the life organized around survival. The hypervigilance, the people-pleasing, the constant explaining. The fear of disappointing people. The fear of being misunderstood. The belief that everyone else's emotions are your responsibility. You don't have to destroy that room. You don't have to hate the person who lived there. You can simply close the door and turn toward another door. This door represents thriving. On the other side is his choice. Peace, boundaries, authenticity, curiosity, joy, friendship, adventure, rest, laughter, and purpose. You don't have to know exactly what your life will look like. You only have to be willing to step toward it. Take a breath and say silently, I'm allowed to have a life beyond survival. Again, I'm allowed to have a life beyond survival. I'm allowed to thrive. Take another breath. Imagine yourself walking through that door, not running, not forcing, just walking. One step, then another. And notice something. You don't have to become fearless. You only have to become willing. Willing to choose yourself. Willing to listen to yourself. Willing to trust yourself. Willing to learn. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, release the belief that you have to punish yourself for the past. You learned, you adapted, you survived, and now you get to evolve. Place your hand over your heart if that feels comfortable. I forgive myself for doing what I needed to do to survive. I forgive myself for not knowing what I know today. I forgive myself for staying when I didn't know how to leave. I forgive myself for being afraid. And finally, I choose to live differently now. Take one more deep breath. Feel the surface underneath you. Notice the room around you. Notice your hands, your feet, and your breath. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. You survived, and now you get to thrive. If today's episode resonated with you, I want you to remember one thing. Stop shaming the person who survived. She was doing the best she could with what she knew. Maybe she wasn't perfect. Maybe she made decisions she wouldn't make today. Maybe she stayed too long. Maybe she trusted the wrong person. Maybe she became somebody she didn't recognize, but she got you here. And now it's your responsibility not to punish her, but to take what she learned and use it to build something better. Survival got you here. Healing teaches you how to stay. And thriving teaches you how to live. So this week, I want you to notice one moment when your old survival responses show up. Maybe you want to apologize when you did nothing wrong. Maybe you want to say yes when you meant no. Maybe you're tempted to explain yourself. Maybe you feel responsible for somebody else's emotions. Pause. Take a breath and ask yourself, am I responding from danger or am I responding from the life I'm building now? You don't have to get right every time. You're learning, and that's enough. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear that survival responses don't make them weak. And if you're ready to move from surviving to thriving, Follow along, subscribe, and continue this journey with me. Because your story didn't end with what happened to you. Your story continues with what you choose to do with your life now. I'm Sajid, and I'll see you next time.